Hi everyone to the Next Wave podcast. I'm Suraj. I am a serial entrepreneur and I've built businesses in logistics, trucking, packaging for the last 15 years. And the mission of this podcast is to share with the MSMEs how you can grow your businesses globally and how you can trade more. And we are looking at bringing guests from different countries so you guys get a perspective on what they've been doing and what are the best practices that you guys can adopt to grow your businesses. And today we have someone from Dubai. We have Jithin here. Jithin, welcome to the Next Wave podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Right. So Jithin has been working with a company based in Dubai called Rapid Group, and I believe they've been there in business, helping MSMEs do logistics for last 30 years. And Jithin has been with them for over 10 years, so he has got a much broader perspective, pre-COVID, post-COVID, on how logistics works in Dubai, and he's going to help us sort the whole logistics perspective of Dubai and how people are or how MSMEs are leveraging it. So Jitin, do you want to share with us about your journey of these 10 years, if we can squeeze it, how it has been and what you felt pre-COVID and post-COVID in the logistics environment in Dubai?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. Excited to be part of this podcast and discussing, more about supply chain and the challenges that everyone is facing right now. Regarding my journey, I've been part of this industry, as you said, for over a decade now. And regarding the journey, what has happened pre-COVID and post-COVID is that pre-COVID it was like the in terms of supply chain is concerned, the shipping lines were at the receiving end. Whenever we talk about pre-COVID, the shipping lines were not making much profits and they were going after the manufacturers and all those things. And what has happened during the COVID was we saw exactly the opposite of what was happening. So the shipping lines made a huge profits during COVID, and it was the other way around, where the manufacturers were running after the shipping lines for space, for the contract rates and all those things. So exactly after the COVID, what has happened is it has come back to again to the same scenario where the shipping lines again are at the receiving end at the moment. Where I mean, yes, they are much better than what they were before pre-COVID. But yes, post-COVID also, during the COVID era, they are looking at at a less profitable margin, and your relationship, the shipping lines relationship with the manufacturer, it's at risk. And because of lots of problems, if you look at the US scenario, where lots of manufacturers, in fact importers, have sued many big shipping lines for charging detention damages during the COVID era, and it has gone against the shipping line. All the rulings and everything has gone against the shipping line right now. So that's the scenario that's being going on right now. And to speak about my logistics journey, I've started off my logistics journey from 2013, and here I am today, handling the supply chain and the business, handling the business analysis for major manufacturers and partners across the globe. So that's what I'm looking at into. That's what I've been handling for the past, over 11 years right now.
Okay, and just to get a little bit more perspective in your experience. So the kind of customers you're handling pre-COVID and post-COVID, have they changed? I mean, are you seeing like before 5 years pre-COVID, or example before 5 years, people were doing more of blah 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 cargo, but now it's a different kind of cargo and the market has evolved into it. Or like, what is your perspective in the wave that you're feeding in Dubai?
See, the customers, yes, definitely that. Rather than saying the customers have changed, I would say the customers' mindset have changed during the pre-COVID. And if you compare the pre-COVID and post-COVID, and during the COVID era. So what has happened is before the COVID era, customers were, I mean, one thing is constant during all three phases is that customer is being and has been price sensitive. So that there is no change over that. So apart from that, right now what is happening is, comparing it with the post-COVID era, customers now are not really looking at the price factors. They are more into getting the most efficient freight forwarders, most efficient partners across the globe in order to get their supply chain, the whole supply chain process gets into their streamline, because that's what they want. That's what their investors are looking at. Because now investors, what they're looking at for example, a company or a manufacturing company, the investors, what they're looking at is they're looking at how good your supply chain infrastructure is, how good streamlined your supply chain is, because that affects your balance sheet right now. Because with the current scenario of the delays, the port congestion, and all those things happening, the timeline or the phrase where we say just in time, where we used to say in supply chain it's a just in time case, that has changed from just in time to just in case, where they are looking at alternatives to partners. Where, for example, I can say that a manufacturer or an importer would have roughly around one or two freight forwarders. They would be working with one, they would restrict themselves working with one or two main freight forwarders. Now what has happened is they are looking for more reliable, more good partnership across the area where they're working on, so that they get more flexibility around the supply chain, and they get more information, more transparency around supply chain is. So that's what's happening.
I get your perspective on that. So they're looking at more efficiency and tuned with a backup forwarder, and remaining price sensitive, which is already there. So they're concerned the price, but they want their cargo to reach on time, and the freight forwarding company or the logistics company who is more efficient in terms of doing it at a cost effective price. So it becomes more intense. So they're finding for partners who are more intense or who are more skilled and can do it at low cost as well. Um,
Correct.
perfect. So I get that. And Jithin, as you're based in UAE, right? If you could give us a perspective on which are the so what is UAE as a country? How is it made of? And then maybe getting us a perspective on Dubai, and then getting us a perspective on the ports of Dubai. So that gives us a overall perspective: where on earth is UAE, and where are the Emirates, and where are the which are the ports that make up for Dubai that we talk about.
Correct. So UAE is mainly comprised of 7 emirates. I would start listing them from Dubai, being Sharjah, Ajman, Fujairah, Ras Al Khaimah, and Umm Al Quwain. Yes. So these are the 7 emirates, that comprises United Arab Emirates. So of these 7 emirates, we have around how many ports? Jebel Ali, we have Sharjah Khalid Port, and then we have Abu Dhabi Khalifa Port, and then we have Ras Al Khaimah, and then we have Ajman Port and Fujairah. 6 ports basically in all over UAE. So of all these ports, one of the main port, as everyone knows, is Jebel Ali, and that is the one of the main ports that everyone handles, and that handles the most, almost I would say 80% of the cargo that comes into UAE. Is 70 to 80% of cargo that comes into UAE. So that's that.
Okay. And so these are the for a manufacturer, if he's sending cargo to Dubai, he would be, or to UAE, he would be engaging those ports. But however, you said that 80% of the cargo would come to Jebel Ali port or the Dubai port that we talk about. But this is in case of
Yeah.
sea. But what is in the case of air cargo? If you're sending something, shipping it by air, then where does it come, and how does for a manufacturer?
See, I believe, again, most of the air cargo comes into, 80 to 90%, 80 to 90% of air cargo that comes into UAE comes at mainly two airports. One is Dubai International Airport, which is the main airport, and another one is DWC, which is the Dubai World Central Airport, which is close to Jebel Ali Port, actually. So these are the two main airports that handles, I believe, around 70 to 80% of the cargo that comes into UAE. And apart from that, there are small, comparatively in terms of cargo handling is concerned, there are smaller airports, which is based in one in Sharjah International Airport, the other one being Ras Al Khaimah also. I'm doubtful that Ras Al Khaimah handles they have a cargo handling facility over there, but yes, these are the three main airports, as cargo handling is concerned. One is Dubai International Airports, another one is DWC, and another one is Sharjah.
Perfect. So now we have a perspective of UAE and the seven Emirates, and within the seven Emirates, we have perspective on Dubai, and then how Dubai has got all these ports, air and sea, and what 60 to 70% of which two ports are primarily handling it. And so for manufacturers or who are already exporting to Dubai, leveraging these or the other ports, what are the interesting use cases that you have seen, or is these could be something for the potential existing exporter importers to understand these are the ways of leveraging the port, air or sea to to ship better, to to better serve their customers. So if you
Yeah.
could share some use cases with us, we could get a much more better perspective on it.
So I can give you an example. During the COVID era, what was happening, like the freight got over the got shot up. So the freight from China to US East Coast or UK, all over Europe, were standing where somewhere around 20,000 to $25,000 per 40-foot container. So what we did for a client, as an example, I would say is we for a client based in UK. So what we did is we got in touch with the supplier, their supplier back in China, and we handled the freight from China to Dubai. We bought it in Dubai. We have a warehouse in Jebel Ali Free Zone. So we bought that container back into Jebel Ali Free Zone. So then we cross stuffed that container into another container, and then we re-exported that to UK, one of the ports in UK, let's say London Gateway or Felixstowe. So what has happened with that whole operation is that we saved around, probably around $5,000 to $7,000 on the whole, on the whole freight cost, on the whole supply chain cost, which the customer was incurring. So that is one leveraging part that we did, where customer were using Dubai as especially the free zone facility, Jebel Ali free zone facility, where when your container comes into the Jebel Ali free zone facility, you won't have to pay, especially when it is for a re-export purpose. You don't have to pay any duty or taxes, and then you just have to pay for the cross stuffing charges, customs clearance charges, and then you cross stuff and re-export it to any other part of the country. So that's one leveraging that we did.
So is there a time period where you have to re-export, or you could store it or warehouse it without paying duty for a long periods of time? Like, so is there a threshold to it, or?
Yes, there is no specific time as such. We just have to wait for the booking for the re-export purpose. So there is no time frame actually. We can store it as long as we want, and we don't charge any for this particular operation. We don't charge any storage charges to the customer also for storing purpose.
Oh wow, wow! So there is no storage, and in this case, it was your warehouse that you did it, right? Or it was some another third party
Yeah,
that did
yeah,
it.
yeah.
It was in your warehouse. Okay, so
No, no,
you
it's our
gave it as a
warehouse
value
only.
added. Yeah. So you handle the freight, you handle the cross stuffing, you handle the warehousing for this customer. Do
Yes.
you have any use cases where Africa is looked at? People are looking at Africa also in this, like any segments or anything where this is happening with Africa for other exporters across the world leveraging Dubai.
Yes, yes. See, the exporters who are, who want to leverage all over EMEA, all over Middle East and African continents. So what they can use is the same factor that I've just spoken about, which is the Jebel Ali Free Zone factor. So what they can do is they can bring in their container into Jebel Ali Free Zone. They can store it there, and if they can export it to any other GCC countries, either through by air, sea or land, which will give you more connectivity and more, your supply chain will get into more streamlined, to be correct. So what will happen is your supply one the advantage is your supply chain will get more streamlined. Second is that it will be much cost efficient, rather than shipping directly from say China to any of the GCC countries for all your distribution requirements across the GCC, rather than bring those containers into containers or whatever that is shipment into Jebel Ali free zone, and then redistribute across the GCC and African countries. And you can as well redistribute those products in Dubai local market also by paying a duty.
Okay, okay. And by these EMEA countries, by so what do you mean by those countries? So which are, so you spoke about air, sea, and road. You could ship it, like, example, move it across. So which by road, which are the common cities from which exporters are storing it in Dubai and then shipping it. So which are the by road? So they would be exporting it, putting it in Dubai, not paying duty, storing it, and then they would be moving it across to these by land. So which are those countries that they're moving it by road?
All over GCC. So whatever that comes into, I mean, Oman, Oman, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Egypt, Lebanon, any all over Middle East, I would say. And in some cases, Port Sudan, Sudan also. Sudan, what happens with Sudan is like it goes to Jeddah, the truck goes till Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, and from there it moves through Red Sea via ship, via launch actually. So, and it reaches Sudan, and then then it gets cleared off in Sudan and gets delivered in Sudan.
Okay, and so the facilities available, warehousing, moving it by road to these nearby countries, or sending it from there to other countries nearby, reducing the cost and you leveraging the space of Dubai and the amenities. So, what are the other services the exporters could leverage? Does it help in repacking? Are there services in relabeling? Are there services, any other value-added services that they're getting there, or you feel that okay, this is there, but obviously the other things for these segments or these products could be done that you have encountered, which you have found interesting?
Correct. So we can, apart from these services, what I've told you, we can also, service with packaging, sorting, labeling, all those things. So yeah, all those things are there. And apart from that, yes, we cannot, add raw materials, or add we cannot play with the product. Once the product comes into our warehouse, we will be just acting as an agent, a proper freight forwarding agent. So anything apart from change in products value or products nature, or that we cannot do that, because we often get those requests where customer asks us if we can add something into the product, where we can change the whole science behind the product and all those things. So that we cannot do. Apart from that, yes, relabeling we can do, sorting we can do, packaging, everything we can do.
That includes not processing the product to change the product itself, but just to
Correct.
arrange a line as per the end customer's order. In terms of those things could be done, wherein the product specs remain the same, but not like changing the
Correct.
form factor or things like that. But so that's the area that you stand. I get that perspective. Another aspect was, so now that I've understood the ports, now that I've understood leveraging the space of Dubai to build my business in nearby countries, or to use it as a hub to nearby continents, shortening my delivery time, shortening my cost, becoming more efficient. But again, Dubai is huge. Even if it's one of the Emirates, it's huge, and there are so many companies out there who are competitive, who are new, who are tech based, who are old. So being an exporter from abroad, how do I choose a good freight forwarding company or a logistics company or a warehousing company? So what are the things, or are there any specific licenses that I could look at? Okay, they're authorized by this, so that validates the trust. So what are the three things or the five things you feel that the exporter should look at while searching them online or meeting them in person, so that they get the right fit as a partner to work with in a country or a city like Dubai?
Correct. So some of the points that an exporter from anywhere across the globe should look at, from anywhere, not just in Dubai, from if you want to choose any of the freight forwarders across the globe, what an exporter or an importer should look at it is the number of years they have been in the business. That's the first and foremost thing. Because comparatively, if you compare us with a new freight forwarder, we are much experienced, and we have partnered with all the agencies here and government agencies here in Dubai, and we have good relationship with all those agencies. We have good relationship with all the liners and air cargo handlers and all those things. So we have seen the in and outs. Being 30 years in this industry, we have seen what is what and what is not. And so that what makes a good freight forwarder, basically saying that how good they are with the kind of transparency they would be providing you, with the rates, with the transit time, and all those things. And apart from that, yes, you need to be regulated by the customs. I mean, you need to be IATA certified, FIATA certified freight forwarder to be based in Dubai. So, and apart from that, one of the main criteria I would, if I was an importer and exporter, if I had to choose a freight forwarder, what I would look at it is the number of years they have been into in the industry, and the people and the culture that they have, among their employees, and how they are doing well. Because if not all freight forwarders, taste the success. With freight forwarding being the most competitive market in Dubai, there are over, I would say, 5,000 forwarders, big, small, and medium-sized freight forwarders in Dubai. So to survive in such a competitive market, you just not require the number of years. Also, you just also require commitment. Your policies, your procedures, all those should be in line with the government policies and all those things. So you should mainly look at the number of years they were into, and the number of cargoes they have handled, the kind of cargo movement that they have handled, and look at the transparency factor as well.
Perfect, Jithin. So we get that perspective of years of experience and the culture among the employees, and how they are treating them, and the transparency in terms of shipments and everything that they're giving. So imagining, we have found the right logistics company, or to work with, and again setting the expectation of how we're going to use Dubai and leverage, and send more cargo or grow the business. So what is the quantified period of time for custom clearance in Dubai? Like, if the shipment comes by air or by sea to the warehouse, how much time does it take? The process put together, or if you could explain the process in brief, just for me to get a perspective as an exporter, this is the time it takes, this is the process it takes.
So in terms of sea, we will start with sea. So in terms of sea, Dubai port, Jebel Ali port gives you 10 days of free time for any containers, import container that comes into Jebel Ali. So apart from that, it depends on the liner free time also, what is agreed between the exporter back in whichever country he is in. So that depends. It ranges from 7 days to 14 days to 21 days. That's the line free time that an importer or an exporter gets. So apart from that, from a Dubai port perspective, yes, you will get 10 days of free time from clearance of container from the port, and depositing it back to the port. You get all in all 10 days of free time. And apart from that, you actually do not, as long as your documents and everything is on have crossed all the checklist and have tick marked all the checklist, it would not take more than 1 to 2 days, 2 to 3 days, max to max 2 to 3 days, for it get to cleared and get it delivered to the customer site. So basically it is 2 to 3 days of clearance process, as long as your everything is on page. So apart from that, air freight, as long as air freight is concerned, you will get 3 days of free time basically. So that's a pressure game where you would have to clear it. As from a freight forwarder perspective, it's a pressure game whenever an air freight import comes into UAE. So that also, I would say 1 to 2 days, max to max 1 to 2 days, as long as again everything is online. 1 to 2 days of clearance, that's it.
Perfect, Jithin. And I had this question. So do the exporters also get a visibility of the inventory of the cargo? So is there a software as well. Like example, in your warehouse or the other companies where example is a routine business, so a lot of shipments coming, a lot of shipments going, and I have constantly getting orders from different customers from different countries. So I would be example sending you orders or invoices which you need to dispatch to these countries. So have the logistics companies started giving that kind of visibility as well of the stock, or like, or it's not there, or what do you feel, how are they doing it?
Yes, yes. All companies, as long as, I mean, it's case to case basis. Some companies does not require those kind of transparency to be provided to them. I mean, small importers or something like that, where you just need to update all those things, your stock report and everything into Excel and provide it to them. And apart from that, almost all freight forwarders in Dubai have a software. As long as my knowledge is concerned, they have a software. I mean, SAP. You can name it from SAP on anything. They are providing all those transparency. They can provide as long as it's on a case to case basis actually. So where customer asks, sometimes customers ask you, provide us a report of the inventory that we have in our warehouse and the in and outs of the warehouse, where it has gone, where it has come in from. So all those things, it's already, as long as our company is concerned, it's already in our software. So we do not wait for customer to get back to us for a request for an inventory, stock list and stock report. We just provide them on a monthly basis, so that the whole transparency is maintained, so they know what is there and they know what has come in and what has gone out of the warehouse. So that's there where transparency is there, of course.
Perfect. Now coming to the last part of the conversation, like, so what are the challenges the MSMEs are facing in supply chain in context, like, as per your understanding, so what do you feel about it, on the challenges part these guys are facing?
See, the current challenges that MSMEs are facing right now is regarding, I mean, from a macro perspective, some of the challenges right now, as you know, Red Sea attacks are going on. One. Second, Panama drought is a main issue right now, where congestion at various ports, like we mentioned during a conversation, like Singapore, even in Jebel Ali, in another, in all over all main ports are going through a congestion right now, where vessels are not getting berth space in the port. And yes, delays again are happening, where vessels are getting diverted from the Red Sea through Cape of Good Hopes, for all vessels that are traveling from Asia to Europe or UK, across Europe and African nations. So that again is a main challenge. So what the importer or an exporter should look at is, they have to think ahead, and I believe everyone is thinking ahead of, the supply chain has become so important today that everyone is thinking ahead of what is going to happen. As I said, it has transformed. Supply chain has transformed from just in time to just in case. So what is being happening is, uh, manufacturers or importers are, in various countries, are doing a near shoring, where they are changing, they're looking at alternatives, they are bringing in supply chain closer to their country, so that they mitigate those risks, where they have lesser, they can feel the lesser pain with the lesser transit time and all those things. That's the main challenges that's right now going on. And plus, as we speak, the rates are again going up to the pandemic level actually right now. So what is happening is a fear in the market, where the rate will, by November December, rate may go up again to the pandemic level. So what importers in UK and US are doing, they are pre-ordering their products before the Christmas arrival. So what has got, as a result, what has it has done to the market is, it has shot up again the freight rates, leading to congestion, vessel delays, and all those things. So challenges will be there, always will be there, but you need to understand and mitigate those risks. You need to look forward, 2-3 months ahead of how things are playing out.
So that's again a very interesting thing that you shared of, people trying to nearshore to counter these challenges. The exporters are trying to, set up warehouses near the customer's premises, or the customers are trying to have extra stock than they used to have before, just as a redundant backup till they find some new supplier nearby. So this could also be interesting, wherein you again start to, be closer to the customer if he's around Dubai, and then have your warehousing over there in Dubai, and then supply the customer from Dubai. So I think that
Yeah.
that adds up in this scenario. Perfect, Jithin. So
Yeah.
I get this perspective on the challenges, the nearshoring that you're seeing. One of the last questions that I wanted to talk about or ask you was that, what is the future you see in context of trade, and trade with technology, with chat GPT, with so many things happening around technology. What do you feel the exporters and the importers should get geared up for, or is it going to be a good time in the coming months, or what do you feel what's going to happen with tech for these exporters and importers?
Correct. So what I see as a future of trade is where technology will be a main factor, which will contribute to the supply chain implementation and disruptions. So AI will be it is already being huge in terms of supply chain, and analysis is confirmed is concerned. So what I look at is technology should importers and exporters should look at embracing the technologies that comes into power and comes into play, and freight forwarders also look at digitizing their whole process of supply chain, whole process of customer service as well, where the customer does not have to go to 10 other agencies for a clearance purpose, and for 10 other, all the information for the customer should be just at a click of a button, that's it. So technology is something that I'm looking at, where it will play a huge part in coming days, where trade will be where supply chain and trade will be much more efficient, I would say, in coming years. And apart from technology, yes, what I can suggest is technology would be the main part, I would say. Yes.
Perfect. And do you see any use case of blockchain happening in Dubai, or because what you're pointing out was that how it, instead of using multiple agencies, I just use limited agencies, and they're all connected, and exporters have digitized from their end customers digitized, the in between guys have
Correct.
digitized. So what are your thoughts
Correct.
on that?
So, what is happening? What will happen that I would suggest is, right now the process where, in fact, I would say the customs clearance process is where, if I have to list down the point by point, step by step, where you get where the importer get the documents, he will transfer the documents to the particular freight forwarder, and the freight forwarder will look at the documents and submit it online through the customs and to the shipping line, and he gets the DO. Once he gets the DO, he will process the customs clearance, and the delivery happens after that. This whole process of the document handling and everything is concerned, that will go through the blockchain process, where from the importer, from the exporter till the importer, and in between the shipping line and the forwarders and the customs, everyone will be able to have more transparency and accessibility to all the documents of a shipment, and which will in result will make the whole supply chain process and a whole customs clearance process, it will make it much more faster. It is already fast, it is already doing excellent job here in Dubai. Customs clearance, as I said, you will take not more than 2 to 3 days, whereas when you compare it to some other countries, it would take more than a week for a customs clearance to be done. That will ease the whole the process of customs clearance, and the shipping is concerned, and transparency as well, as long as supply chain is concerned.
Perfect, Jithin. So we understand, get the flow of how data is going to flow smoothly all across with all agency partners till the end customer, and just gets validated. So perfect. So then, thanks for your time, and thank you for talking to us, and sharing with us on the perspective of how UAE is mapped out, how the Emirates are mapped out, how the ports are mapped out, and within these ports, how companies are trying to looking at using Dubai to send cargo to nearby countries, to Africa, to UK, to Europe, and also trying to use it as a transit, try to use it as a warehouse, try to use it as a packaging sorting place, thus giving them the leverage to be near the customer or try to reduce their cost. And you also spoke about how technology is going to help in terms of optimizing in the coming months, and how in the coming months the congestion and all these things are also going to grow as well, for which the customers are already getting geared up, pre-ordering their orders pre-Christmas, so that they get a perspective as well. So it's been amazing to have you in the conversation, Jithin, and thank you so much for taking out time on a working day to
Thank
share
you.
with us on how Dubai is
Yeah.
doing and how exporters and importers and MSMEs can leverage, Dubai for their greater good and to grow.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me. It was wonderful sharing my insights and my knowledge, and always looking forward to sharing more. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks, Suraj.